Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. In this video, we're going to be watching Khan as he plays Vladimir against Irelia. In this lane, Khan on the Vladimir has a sustain advantage, but a damage disadvantage. This will mean that Khan loses long trades against Irelia, but if he can continually take short trades with gaps in between them, he'll be in great shape. As we break down the laning phase, we're going to focus specifically on the ways that Khan is able to manipulate the wave to avoid long trades, while, as always, isolating concepts that you can apply in your own games. With that all said, there's a few missions that Khan will want to accomplish. First, he'll want to let the lane push to him by not auto-attacking the wave. Then, he'll want to watch out for Irelia's level 2 advantage. After that, he'll want to get a freeze in front of his turret by briefly holding the wave. Finally, he'll want to maintain the wave positioning in front of his turret by continually thinning the wave and harassing Irelia when she tries to clear it. With that all said, let's hop right into the game. As we get into it, both top laners go immediately into lane, and we can infer from this that Irelia didn't leash, which means that we should then immediately pay attention to bot side. By seeing whether or not their bot laner leash, it will give us more information about where their jungler started. While we're watching for their bot lane, we're also going to be starting mission 1 by avoiding damage on the wave altogether. And now we can see that the enemy bot lane is going for a dirty cheese onto our bot lane, which means that they didn't leash either. This means that the enemy Trundle didn't get a leash from anyone, since Karma went immediately to the mid lane, so he could be anywhere on the map right now. Though, at the same time, we're planning on freezing by our turret, so we don't really care at all as long as we're able to get this freeze off. As we play more seconds of the laning phase, Khan isn't moving up for a Q onto Irelia because targeting her with that spell will cause the minions to aggro onto us, and it will have the potential of pushing towards her. Basically, all we're doing is dancing around right now and staying away from our low health minions so that Irelia can't Q to them and fight us in melee range. We can see that Khan is really respecting Irelia's potential to dash in on him, and that's play that you should definitely copy. He isn't worried about dying at level 1, but instead he's playing around the possibility of being all in at level 2. If Irelia takes a good trade at level 1, then backs off and gets her level 2 lead, she'll have a ton of power and a potential all in. By positioning back here deliberately, Khan is preventing that line of play from even starting. With this low blue minion getting lower and lower, we can assume that Irelia is going to go in, and Khan is aware of that as well. Against Irelia in this position, you want to be playing far back, since she's going to be able to gap close. Fortunately, Khan knows exactly what she's planning and moves just out of range of her second Q while also dodging out of her stun. Now, with her stun being down, Khan moves up to get an empowered Q on the minion. It's also extremely important to note that Khan wouldn't move up for this minion if Irelia had her stun up, because she would then gap close and catch up to him, which would threaten a kill. This Irelia is really no slouch though, and feints before dashing into the minions and getting on top of him. However, she goes just a fraction too far and takes a turret shot, which actually makes this punish a bit less effective. In fact, with her taking the turret shot, this trade is actually going to benefit Khan in the long run, since the wave is getting close to his safe zone and he has a substantial sustain advantage. If she hadn't taken this turret shot, then Khan would be hurting a bit more, though the same strategy of going for a freeze in front of the turret would remain applicable for Khan. Now Irelia pushes in the wave, and we can see from the angle of her champion that she wants to go ward the river for a 230 gank timing. We can also see in the river that Kha'Zix is right there. And if we played a second further, we can see that Khan is moving up to tank the minions for a very aggressive brute force freeze in front of his turret. Now, of course Khan is doing this so that the minions don't crash into his turret. But he's also doing this right in Irelia's face. Irelia will immediately want to prevent the wave from being frozen this way, but if she goes to stop him from doing this, then Kha'Zix will be able to gank her. This looks ridiculous from Khan because he's going to take a ton of damage quickly. He's also taunting Irelia in the perfect way. Her focus is now going to be on him, because who does this guy think he is, tanking 7 minions in front of his turret at level 1? We can also see that Khan is tanking them while also being in the perfect spot to back Kha'Zix up for this gank. What we're about to see is really awesome, so take a look and watch carefully. Within the span of 2 seconds, Khan skills up his E, charges it for full channel, then flashes, ignites, and buffers his auto onto Irelia to secure first blood. This is insane. But the question has to be asked, what if Irelia didn't face check Kha'Zix? Or, even further, what if Kha'Zix wasn't there at all? First of all, if she didn't face check, Khan would have kept freezing and he would have been in a great position since it's hard for her to contest him when he's by his turret last hitting. And if she overstepped trying to contest him, then Kha'Zix would have ganked. If Kha'Zix wasn't there at all, then Khan would have dragged the minions to the left wall when she tried to ward, which would have gotten the freeze off anyways, but he would be playing extremely carefully after getting that freeze off. Anyway, as we tune back into the game, what's becoming immediately more punishing is that he now has the freeze at his turret afterwards, while Irelia is still dead. By grabbing the minions earlier, he simultaneously taunted, baited, and set up a follow-up play that then punishes Irelia. Now Irelia teleports back in, and as her, there's probably a ton of things that would be going through your head. First off, you really want to break this freeze because this is one of the most, if not the most obnoxious thing to play against in the game. Though, at the same time, the even bigger thing to worry about is where the enemy Kha'Zix is. In this situation, we talk about it all the time, junglers can completely remove top laners from the game by ganking them after they teleport. This Irelia is also a really good player, so she is self-aware that she has to play around the possibility of Kha'Zix even coming for the return gank. But because she doesn't know where Kha'Zix is, it makes this situation extremely scary. And to make matters even worse for her, Khan knows that this is on her mind, so he moves up right as he hits level 3. Khan is making a brilliant bluff here that relies on him accurately inferring what Irelia is thinking at this moment. By moving up here, it will likely cause Irelia to think about the reason that is behind him moving up. Due to this, she might even be pinging on the map that Kha'Zix could be in the tri-brush or at the golem, when in reality he's actually at the raptors, nowhere really close to top lane. Right now, Khan has set up a brilliant situation, and there's nothing that Irelia can do about it. Even if she does know that he's baiting, it's not like she can kill him. For the next 30 to 40 seconds, we're going to see Irelia play at the edge of XP range. This choice is so hard for newer players to make, but it's extremely important. There's two ways that you can completely lose lane here. The first way is that you get ganked and die, which is pretty obvious, but the second is that you get zoned out of XP range, or you even get chunked out and have to back. Either of those things would mean that you fall behind in the pace XP-wise, and that's what's really going to ruin you. Even though sacrificing 5 or so minions in gold feels super terrible, it really only makes up to about 80 to 100 gold. We can also see that even though she doesn't have vision on Kha'Zix, Irelia is playing pretty accurately to his positioning, which is extremely impressive. In addition, if Khan hadn't set up this freeze earlier, the wave would have bounced off of his turret and would now be at Irelia's, where she could easily free farm without any threat of Kha'Zix. Now, with level 3 and her flash still up, Irelia knows that she won't die from a gank from Kha'Zix, especially since Khan's ignite is down. Because of this though, she's going to try now and break the freeze so that she can then fight Khan out in the open. As Khan contests her, she fights him directly, which brings us to a big point about this matchup. Vladimir's W can actually be used to dodge Irelia's stun just like this. Khan dodging the Irelia stun made that trade great for him, whereas it would have gone Irelia's way otherwise. The dynamic of how these two match up against each other relies purely off of Vladimir's pool. In levels 1 through 5, he'll use it to dodge her stun, whereas afterwards he'll have to save it for her ultimate. Now, as we see on the map, Irelia is aware that Kha'Zix is in the river. Honestly, Kha'Zix is kind of setting up a tent up here in top lane. And even though he hasn't needed the help, Khan is using it perfectly to set up freeze after freeze by dragging these minions up to the brush. As Irelia, this is kind of where you start getting really tilted. She hasn't been allowed to play her game for the entire laning phase. As a reaction, she tries to brute force the wave, but she can't hit Khan with a stun and just takes more damage because of it. However, Irelia isn't done yet, and the pressure is really starting to mount at Khan's turret. At this point, Khan is so low that surely he has to back off and let the wave crash. But instead, he is tunnel visioned on the freeze for just a moment too long, and he ends up getting caught by the Irelia stun without using his W to counter it. This is an extremely clean kill by Irelia, but unfortunately, Kha'Zix isn't giving her a moment's break by already setting up another freeze for Vladimir. We talked earlier about how Khan shouldn't position near low minions, but in this case we think that he's purposefully positioning in this way so that she'll then dive in on the minion and fight him under the wave. And when he gets his W off to dodge Irelia's stun, We don't actually like his use of the W here because his empowered Q is actually up, and she would have to then fight him on a lot of blue minions, even if she got the stun off. Nevertheless though, the freeze has now finally been broken, and Khan hardly has any vision on the map, so he pushes in the wave and then picks up a ward in the river and in the tri-brush. Now, what happens next is extremely clean by both of them, and it really shows why these two have world-class mechanics. We'll show it first, and then break it down from both sides. From Irelia's side, she dashed to a minion, skilled up her ultimate, and then immediately cast it in the span of a second. Against any ordinary challenger player, this would have landed and they'd be in huge trouble. From Khan's side, he sees her level up, buys just enough space to where he can react to her ultimate, and then dodges it perfectly with his pool. Instead of her awesome play turning into a highlight reel, Khan has now perfectly countered her yet again, and he has to just back off until he has full health. In addition, we can see that the wave is yet again entering Khan's favorite part of the lane on this Vladimir. However, since Irelia's ultimate is down, there's no need for him to play so defensively, and he instead starts to push towards her with his level lead. But before he can get any substantial damage done, he spots Karma and Trundle in the top jungle, which means there's trouble, and he has to respect the potential for a roam upwards. And now, with Trundle in the area and his wards cleared out, there's no reason not to freeze here. Even if Irelia pops out of the bush, she has no ultimate, so he's under no threat whatsoever. With his Proto Belt buy point coming up, Khan is going to hold this wave here before pushing this and the incoming wave. The reason he froze before doing this is so that the wave comes closer to his turret to fight, and then the second wave will be at or near the middle of the lane, which will then be safer for him to clear since he doesn't have any vision in the river or the jungle. With the wave perfectly pushed out and crashing against his turret, we can see on the map that it's going to come back to him, which is perfect since he's on his first power spike, Proto Belt. The wave is in the perfect spot as he's in lane, and there isn't any vision on Trundle, so Khan hangs out back here and waits patiently. And after dodging Irelia's stun once again, he sets up one more freeze. As Irelia comes back into lane, we can see that she's getting a bit impatient with Khan, and goes in under his wave to try and force him back. Khan isn't having any of that, and hilariously pulls the wave up yet again. This must be so infuriating to play against. We can also see that Irelia is kind of in the river saying, screw this, I'm gonna go somewhere else. But then she finishes her temper tantrum a few seconds later and goes back up top to try and break his freeze. A fight is now about to break out between these two because the tension is way too high. Khan has just used his Q, which then prompts Irelia to go in. Khan then gets a perfect sidestep to her stun, and now she's in trouble since she has no mobility after having used her Q. Now Khan clears out a ton of minions while also hitting her with all of the bolts from his Proto Belt while also landing his ultimate. And now we can see him dancing directly on Irelia. Earlier, we saw him buy space from her so that he could pull her ultimate, but now he's dancing right on her to make himself hard to hit in a bit of a different way. This is a really obnoxious form of dodging where your character is so close to the opponent's character that it actually makes it harder to predict to where you're going to go. However, this Irelia is really mechanically strong, and this ultimate would have hit Khan, but he's able to pull out of it due to his insane reaction time. And now, with her ultimate down, she has nowhere to go but to the base with a gray screen. This game will soon transition in the mid-game where everything will be on Khan's shoulders. But before we talk about that next video, let's recap about how we got here. As the lane started out, Khan didn't auto at all to let the wave come to him. As Kha'Zix came in for the 230 gank, Khan baited Irelia and followed up perfectly for first blood. After that, he had set up an excellent freeze that lasted for minutes before tunneling and dying to Irelia under his turret. Even though this happened, he used waves perfectly to counter Aurelia's game plan while dodging and countering each of her stuns and ultimates afterwards. Then, after picking up his first power spike, he picked up his fight by goading Irelia by burning his Q, where he expertly dismantled her every step of the way. As we look towards the mid-game, the other lanes on the map are down in gold and XP, while his jungler is roughly even with Trundle. With the bot lane turret getting lower and lower, there will soon be a ton of attention on Khan. In the next video, we'll be talking about how Khan handles this pressure and carries, despite the enemy bot lane rotating up. Well, that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.